Welcome, everyone. Welcome to tonight's show. Tonight is going to be good, but kind of fun too. Since I have the wonderful guest on, who one thing we have in common is our love of steampunk, I thought the mistress could go steampunk a little bit. So I'm kind of excited about that. And I'm sure most of you know who my guest is this evening. But I want to introduce him. I have the fabulous, sorry, he needs a great introduction for a great guy, the Adega.
Such an introduction for such nobody.
Oh, please. Please, please, please. No, you have to get there we go. You are somebody now. You just stop it and behave.
I
You're
just happen to have fun is all. I'm not anybody too exciting, so
well,
hopefully it's fun for you.
it
Made
is
you
so
dress
fun
up.
for me. You did. You made the Vampira go steampunk, and of course, not
It's
that I'm
Halloween.
complaining because I absolutely love steampunk. So, I am excited to talk to you because, well, PJ's was or is going to be here, and I kind of thought maybe some of his scheduling might
It's PJ
conflict,
time.
but it's PJ. So he may pop in, he may, I don't know, but we'll wait for him. PJ absolutely adores you, and
He's a good friend.
he's
Same goes
awesome.
both ways.
Yeah, so he said you gotta get him on there because we need to talk about his wonderful book, and I want to talk about the other ones as well. But I'm excited to talk about your new one. Um, I want to say hi to those in the chat. We have G-Force. Thank you, G-Force, for being here as always. Tracy is in the chat as well. My co-host from time to time, and hopefully she doesn't get tired of co-hosting with me. And then Alicia, thank you for being here. Wonderful friend there, saying hello, and so very excited to be here tonight. I'm sure. We will have some others pop in here, but
I hope it's fun.
I think it will be anyway. So I told PJ, I'm like, I hope I'm entertaining on my own. So anyway,
We just have to listen to your voice.
oh, well, yours too. That's one thing I do love. As a matter of fact, a nice leeway into the Adega. I absolutely love when you do your readings and you have
Thank you.
your yeah, absolutely. Not only are the stories interesting, but your voice is a great match with it. So oh, look, Cardinal Sin is here. Hello, Cardinal Sin.
Hey,
Thank you for
Cardinalson.
being here.
He keeps
Awesome.
asking me the same thing, and our schedules don't work for some reason.
Yeah.
I feel so bad, and I'm surprised he hasn't, said, no, screw you.
Yeah, he's all bird.
Right.
No, I'm the same way too. Sometimes he has his late night one, and I'm already in my jammies, but I would love to be there. Um, but I do like making it. I'm glad he keeps inviting me because I will make it when I am able to. But thank you, Cardinal Sin, for not giving up on a dig and myself. And we have MJF, our props, Matt, aka Matt. Thank you, Matt, for being here. Hello, everybody in the chat. So I'm talking to the wonderful Adega, and I again your YouTube. If anybody hasn't subscribed, I would love you to do so. And do you mind if you put a little something in chat so I can give you a wrench because I'd like you to share your stuff with everybody there. So I'm going to make sure that
I
you
will
can
try.
just a little hello.
I got my good glasses on, so um,
Yeah.
these are really meant for outside. They're very dark.
Yes.
They're
I know.
almost welding glasses type, but man, I love these.
I love them. Anything steampunky. There you are. So,
I showed her before. I can't wear the hat because the headphones. It just doesn't quite work right.
yeah,
I got
that's
a
the
couple hats, but that's my
well,
trilby.
that is what I did with this when I went to go to my steampunk section, and they had the most awesome hats, but I have to get a new headset that doesn't go over my head. In the meantime, I'm glad they have these little numbers. These are fun little numbers that I don't need to worry about. So that's one thing about being a girl, you can enjoy those clip-on jobs. Except the metal keeps hitting my headpiece, which I hope isn't going into my mic because it's
Dressing up has
clank,
never
clank.
been comfortable.
It never has. Yes,
It's
even getting
fun, but
into the yes, I kind of like it, but sometimes it gets a bit, like to get into my Vampira outfit. It's like, okay, gonna need some help here.
you know what? I got to take that back. I have a pirate, and that is very comfortable. Really
Yeah,
comfortable.
is
Oh
it?
yeah.
Oh, what do
Yep.
you use that for?
Same thing. It's a Halloween thing. This I used to wear things like this to work, like the last week before Halloween, and my patients will line up to take pictures with me. I thought it was really stupid,
Nice.
but they loved it, so
No,
I did it
we
every
love it.
year.
Nice. Of course. That's awesome. Yes. In case for those of you didn't know, like there's Sherry. Sherry's in the chat. Thank you, Sherry. Hello. Welcome. And I was gonna say, oh, Adega's in the chat, but you're in here with me. Um and I do that a lot. And so, anyway, that would be fun to go see your provider and have him get all dolled up. I almost decided to wait and be late just so that that way I could do the getting the doctor back thing. Everybody's always, why is always making us wait? No, just kidding.
No, people didn't wait in my office. I hate
That's
that, and
awesome.
there was no
Yeah.
way I was going to make other people do that. So
No, I don't
no,
mind. I don't
I
mind
was
because,
at one point I was seeing 140 people a day,
oh my
and no
gosh.
one was late, and I was never late. So
That's awesome. I don't know how you did that, and still gave them the attention that they needed. That's a lot.
just barely, and that's why I quit
Mhm.
doing it because the
Yeah.
people line up, but it wasn't worth it.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Well, I bet you still enjoyed it, and do you miss it sometimes?
I if you would have asked me that 4 years ago, I would have said absolutely yes.
Yeah.
But since the thing was, and it's with anybody when I anybody who's of a certain mindset, people who like to work. Once you retire,
Mhm.
um, it's aggravating. It's misery unless you find something else to do.
Yeah. And
And
you
so,
did find something else to do. You
partly inspired by my
absolutely.
wife too. She kind of
Yeah.
smacked me in the head and said, do something.
You
So
know,
that
that
helped.
sounds, but just knowing you and knowing the kind of wife you have, my guess is that because she knew that you had many talents and she wanted to make sure that you did not let them go to waste. And that since you had the opportunity to do it, just to do it. And now I bet you are so glad you did.
Yeah, actually, I am. Yeah.
Yeah. Daryl, hello, Daryl. Thank you for being here. Appreciate having you with us. And anyway, for those who popped in, I was talking about Adega's YouTube channel. And I love going there when I see that you are doing something because you read. Now, tell everybody what you're reading exactly.
Um, I'm actually reading a very, very rough draft of the things that I'm writing. It's before it's editing, and I actually use that to help edit.
Oh,
It's
nice.
archived so I can go back and listen to things to make sure everything's congruent throughout the whole text, where things don't sound right. So it may sound okay, but to me, I hear it, and then I hear the rhythm of the words. If I use too many, too much, if my descriptions aren't accurate, and then I go back and I fix it. So it's how I edit. I know it sounds
Oh,
weird, but
nice.
that's what I do. And then plus it gives me some fun to kind of add some pictures of music. to it, but
Mhm.
the pictures never are right. I can't find things that match, but
Mm-mm.
it's fun.
Well, it's hard to put in your head and bring it out on paper or whether writing or art. I so am envious of artists that can do that, that can take a vision and bring it to life on paper. Every time I think I'm gonna be creative and I'm trying and I'm like, oh, what is that? That just never mind. But even for writers, I was telling PJ, I've been trying to write my book now for about 3, 4 years, and I'm having trouble because want to start in the past. Now, the future is fun to write the way you have your new book because you can absolutely create whatever you want and nobody can say, hey, wait a minute, that we didn't have that or that didn't happen, because you know how people get, they get really
Right, right,
technical
right, right, right.
even in fiction. So how fun is it to write for future?
Um, I like it. I've never had a problem. You know, people. That's why there's other writers that are really pissed at me because the book that I have several that are on my website, but and there's more coming. There's 3 there now. I've got quite a few that I'm going to actually put out. But for me, it's actually, and I don't want to sound bad or arrogant or anything, but it comes out pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it always has. Haven't had writer's block. Every once in a while, I take a break, but it's I've been very fortunate, I guess, blessed.
Bless.
No, agree.
Well,
Just for me to able to put it my thoughts into words hasn't been an issue. Now, if you ask me to draw, oh no,
that's a
no
different
time
story.
soon. No, 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 it'd never work.
Well, um, I think because I'm thinking it became easy for you because, well, I'm guessing that it's because you've had this in your head for a long time. Would you
Most of
say
it,
I'm in
no.
it? No, you just kind of
Mm-mm.
came up
Hmm.
and it just flowed.
The first book, the only thing that was in my head for a while was the main character. Everybody else came as I was writing it. And like I said, that is pissed. I've talked with other writers, and they just so mad at me for that.
I
Um,
can imagine.
but no, and it's weird how I do it. I wait until I'm tired most of the time, and I let the subconscious and a little bit of the right brain kind of blend. The ideas
Yes.
will come, and then I'll write it out. And the next day, when I'm wide awake, I go back and read it. It says, "That is stupid," but I can clean it up. I get the idea of what my brain was doing. I'll clean it up the
Yes.
next day, because I'll have words repeated over and over, which is aggravating, or a
Mm.
sentence that kind of runs on, and I have to clean that up. But the idea is there. So I kind of wait for my brain to quiet down and listen.
You know what? That's actually a really good idea because I think that when you're trying to write, when you're fully awake, all your other thoughts start interfering and you can't really narrow it down. But that is an excellent time to do it. That's when I
Works for me.
become my creative. Yeah. Tell us a bit about your new book. I bought it, which
Which
everybody in
one?
this chat better go buy it. Evolution. Well, you
That one's
have.
old. That
No,
one's
not
been out
the
for a
not
while.
Evolution. I'm sorry, the your newer one. The
Revolution?
your Revolution.
That's the second book. You should have the
Yes.
first one and read it before you read the second one.
Yes. And there are
I,
both of them in here.
yeah, but I noticed because if you guys want to write, you have to be able to read and read a lot. Um, and I noticed with a lot of the readings where it's a series, the authors, at least for the good books, will spend not just rehearsing history, but they'll weave the history from the first book at the beginning into the
Mhm.
next one. So that even if you grab the third book or the sixth book in a series, you're going to kind of catch on pretty quickly. And I try to do that with this one, um, or with all of them. But
I'm
the
going to
first
pull
one
up
has.
your while you're talking, I'm going to pull
Oh,
up
go
real
ahead.
quick your website and showing the book so that they can see what what we're looking at here. And let me see. I'm just gonna share. Where is it at? Where is it at? Is that the one I'm looking at? Where am I looking at? Here we
Yeah,
go.
the main, yeah, there it is. Ta-da! And the whole reason why this started on Spring was because I wanted the T-shirt for me. And then they said, "Oh, well, we do ebooks too." And then I checked and said, "Well, I got everything I do is copywritten.
This one.
Do I have to, do something special for the copyright?" And it says, "No,
Nice.
everything's protected." And so I, you know, decided, "Oh well, let's see how it
Very
goes," and
nice.
it's been doing okay. That happens to
Uh,
go with a book that I'm going to post probably in a couple of weeks. It's kind of a
oh,
prequel to
nice.
the sci-fi one. Um, think of in Star Wars that would be a Sith shirt.
Oh,
It's the bad
okay.
guys.
The bad guys.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm very captivated by this art. It's beautiful.
Well, the one in the center is just a picture that I altered a little bit, but the one on the right
So,
and the left were actually done by my artist.
oh, very nice. Very nice. There is these are what Adega has here on his website. You can go to adegaoutlaw.com
Yeah,
and
you
you
see
can
all the
see
ones that are
this.
written there, they're eventually all going to be posted.
That's awesome because I went in to take a look at each one of them. I went into The Blood Witch, which sounds absolutely fascinating.
Well,
And
publishers actually thought the same thing too. I that in well, if you're reading the description, it's in there. So go ahead.
hmm yes, and I don't know if anybody wants me to can if hopefully they can see that or go on the link. Thank you, Tracy, for helping me in the chat. She is wonderful co-host when she's on with me, but also
She's awesome.
in the chat because she helps me stay organized. So she has left Adega's um, well, link for his website. That's what it's called. And you can take a
Ta-da!
look at it there for the Blood Witch. Um, and it says, what is a Blood Witch? And you can follow your lead character as she discovers who she is, the curse upon her family and strengths that haven't been seen in over 800 years. Dark times, bloody wars, and many characters interact through circumstances set in motion years ago. Secrets to be uncovered, hidden plans to be exposed, and the growth of both people and nations must be made if good is to survive. Blood for gold comes with a price, but it can it last? There we go. I can spit it out of my mouth. So, um, little background about this one, if you don't mind, without any spoilers there.
Um, on my YouTube channel, if you listen to the commercial, there's music at the end of it. A friend of mine, you
Mm-hmm.
see it on every one of my videos at co.ag.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember how we actually got to become friends. I think I was making a video real long time ago, found his music, and then we started going back and forth. But he did a song. Um, it's oh gosh, now my mind just drew a blank.
Mm-hmm.
A strange kind of love. It's a
Mm-hmm.
dark song, and I in his um, page I just wrote a real quick little short story, and um, he thought it was really cool because everyone you could do comments, and sometimes I would write little short stories for the music, and so he came up with the song called "Vampires from the New World," and that hit me. It's like boom, the whole book just came to me as soon as I heard the song, and um, when I heard the vampire thing, this is not a vampire story,
Mm-hmm.
but it does have kind of ties to a vampiric type theme.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So I sat down and wrote it out. This is the largest of the books I've written. Uh, and when I was finished, I decided, and there's a little blurb underneath what you read, just kind of highlights it. I decided, you know what? People like my sci-fi stuff because this came after I've written a couple of the sci-fi books.
Mhm.
I'm just going to send it into a publisher and tell me, they can reject me and give me some highlights of what I need to do. What happened was someone who was starting up their own publishing company plus the other company said, we want it. So I had two publisher companies fighting for me at the same time. Well, I went with a new one because I liked their model, and they
Mhm.
weren't, the established type where people know how politics are being put into things nowadays,
Yes, of
and this new
course.
company wasn't like that. So we went through the process of getting this out. Well, that company folded before the book came out. I was the first author that they wanted. They wanted this book to be at one point the pilot, but things were going rough. The editors were woke. They were trying to change what was in there, and I said, "No, we're not having any uh, characters that have no character development. We're not." Here's an idea. I've mentioned this before to some people. Um, it would come back from the editor saying this is not feasible because there was a campaign where they're marching by old ruins of ancient castles, and they said the people would have torn those down and reused those materials. So I had to write back and tell them, have you been to Scotland? Have you been to Ireland? Those castles have been there for centuries. What are you talking about? Or they would march for 20 miles, and they said there's no way people could do 20 miles a day with an army. And I had to send back an article about there's British forces where they were required to do 50 pounds to 70 pounds pack on their back and do 20 miles in five
Oh my
hours all
gosh.
day. So it was back and
Yeah.
forth over and over. So they're grifting the publishers, because every time they send it back, they get paid for it, even though
Mhm.
it's stupid stuff. Then there were some hard drives that were lost because of some criminals. Um, there was the
Mm.
whole COVID thing. So that company couldn't survive. They just had too much over their head. And I'm kind of in between finding another publisher, and I haven't really put myself out there, haven't found the drive to really go at it yet. I just
Mhm.
like the writing. So I saw on Spring, said, hey, I'll just post them up. People want to read it. There it is. So I'm the one who's edited it. It hasn't been professionally edited.
Mm.
Um, so
That's talent there too.
if there's errors, I'm sorry, but I have done my best. I ran it through Word uh, editing. I ran it through the Google editor, and each one finds something different.
Mm.
They want to place
Mm.
commas certain ways. And one of the big problems I had, and this is just me, is say like rain. When you hear the word rain, what would you think?
Well,
Is it rain that falls from the sky? Is it a king's rain? Is it the
yes.
reins of a horse? And each one is spelled different.
Yeah.
And dummy me, the other two, rain, I know, Rain, but the other
Mhm.
two, I was always getting mixed up. So I had to go through, found the quick way to correct everything. But that's the little things like that. And
Yeah.
they're as clean as I can possibly get them at this point.
I don't think anybody'd fault you for that. To be honest, I don't even
Hey,
think
they're going to pay
anybody
money for it.
noticed. Yeah.
If people are going to pay money for it, I want it to be as polished as possible. I
No.
don't want to rip anybody off. I
You're
want them to be
right.
entertained.
But you're right, but at the same time, what I'm thinking behind that is that the story from my seeing the comments of what people are saying that have read it, to be honest, they've been so absorbed that I just think people wouldn't even notice as much. And I understand what you're saying because you're right. It is, your baby and you want it to be perfect. And there's always time for that. But I really doubt by hearing what people are saying that they're getting ripped off. And I wanted to play a little bit too before we move on to that is of the video that you have on here um, for the book, and I wanted to show some
Okay.
of the comments. And give me one sec, because Polly and Polly's here. Hey, Polly.
Hey,
And
Polly.
Salacious Rum, thank you for being here. And LDG as
Thank
well. I
you.
saw him pop in here. So LDG said hi, and I want to make
Hello.
sure to catch everybody. And so let me see here. Where am I at? They've been teaching me how to push buttons. So um,
On the computer,
yeah,
not on
on the
personalities.
on the computer. Yes, right, exactly. We want to make sure we got that right. Okay, and here it is. Or no, here it was. Where was that? Here we go. Oh, here it is. Okay. So I'm going to start her up here. I like to go big screen here, and I hope I remember the audio. Oh, go.
This is the first one. These are all unsolicited.
I don't think they'd mind. Yes. Everybody knows Tink, and there are some people in here that you'll recognize, those of you in the chat.
Well, there's a lot more.
Yeah, I bet. And it's George,
Yeah. He
the
volunteered
creative
this.
George. Did
This
he?
artwork is all volunteered, yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. And there's PJ.
Hey, PJ.
Wow, very cool, he says. That's great. That's great artwork.
It took him 20 minutes. He just did that on a live
Wow,
stream. Yeah.
that's crazy. We have some talented people out there. And I wanted to get everybody an idea of what others were saying about it, about your writing. Um, and I know this is the older book, but I just wanted to show that. And so I think we even have Stone.
There he
Yes,
is.
Loki. There's the Loki guy. Yeah, of course. He's having he wanted to be here too, but he was having a birthday dinner tonight. Did he like not tell us it was his birthday?
No, he told everybody. Tomorrow's his
Oh
actual
my God, I'm
birthday.
so horrible.
Yeah.
I'm horrible at remembering stuff. I'm like, you didn't tell me it was today, but I probably would have seen that for tomorrow. But he's also a big fan of uh, of you for your kindness as well. And so there is that video so you can go catch that. But on Adega's, you see how I'm subscribed? You guys better do it too. Don't make me get my whoop out. Um, and you'll be able to hear the lovely voice of Adega reading some books. And I love all the artwork that goes with it as
It just
well.
doesn't match. I wish it could match better. I
I
find the best I
bet.
can, but
No, they're still good, but I understand what you mean. But I think um, now, do you pre-record these and then just load them up and just let people listen? Have you done live?
I've done live reading just of, I think it was one page out of the book when it first came out.
Mm.
But other than that, I don't really read anything live.
life. I
My
can't
eyes don't
either.
cooperate with me most of the time.
Well, if you see I struggle just to read that there because I was afraid that, I got stage fright there. I was like, I'm gonna stumble on a really easy
Oh,
word.
people
Because
do that with reading in public.
yes, that's why I was like, let's go slow. Oh, look at this. Nina Infinity's on. Nay, not fair. Okay, and so is Bird of Prey. Oh, right. Well, at least we know who's alive
That's
now too.
okay.
Okay, that's all right. So there's that. And so everybody subscribe if you haven't. I think you'll really enjoy that. And then I'm gonna go back to the I'm
On
gonna
the
go back
actual
to the other.
website for that book, I it was a while ago. I was just my publisher said you need to sign up for this company, do this and this and this, and so I went to Goodreads and had to make a profile there. And when I was there, I noticed that some of you will know Louise Sparrow. She had written a really cool
Mm.
testimony, and I asked her just a couple days ago. I said, "I found this. Can I put it with my book?" And she says, "Yeah, absolutely." So hers is in the evolution one at the end of the
Okay.
description. Um, then
Yes.
I have some other people that have read Revolution, and they said they were going to do that. I don't know why it won't separate out on that one. I can't make paragraphs on there.
Oh, really? This one's
It's
given
odd.
attitude. That's crazy.
Yeah,
Well, as you see here, people, for 12.50, you can get the ebook, and it is definitely well worth it. And you should definitely check out the the
the last
website
few
and the book.
copies on Amazon before it was completely gone, they were selling for $45.
Oh my gosh. See, there you
Yeah,
go. For
yeah.
12.50, you can have Evolution, and for 17.50, you can have his other ebook, Revolution.
Yeah,
Now,
book three I should have out in a couple of days.
in a couple days, make
Yeah,
sure you guys check that back in a couple of days to see when the other one is out. Um, I'm looking at time. Because I don't want to keep you either. We have some awesome people in here, and it's awesome that they're here to see
I
this.
haven't seen any.
Let me
I can't.
see.
My glasses are too
So,
dark.
well, Daryl, the Delect is here. Hello,
Oh,
Daryl.
there he
I
is.
said it, Daryl.
Daryl's a good guy.
And yeah, he's awesome and Latino. Thank you.
Spoken
He
by a
always,
wise man.
yes, he always gives good advice. Um, oh yeah, thanks, Tracy. And you know what though, I always have people that will come back to the stream later, so it's okay. But please check this out. Now let's talk about um, the. Is it possible to talk about it without giving too much away?
Which
And
one?
well, which one do you want to? Do you feel that we should introduce them to right now?
It doesn't matter. They're two totally different genres.
Okay.
Um,
Let's talk about
whichever one
Revolution
you.
then.
Okay, Revolution. Um, it is set almost immediately after Evolution. In Evolution, we follow several main characters, some secondary characters, who in this book, the secondary ones start taking a much bigger role. Uh, it goes from following a small group who discovers some secrets, some different things, trying to expose it,
Hmm.
to it causing revolution. And this is actually a you can call it intergalactic because the society here is set 1,000 years in our future, and they pick and choose where they want to be, and they started hitting a second and third galaxy. Um, so it's intergalactic, and there are some difficulties that they face from outside sources that are absolutely terrifying, and it causes a split in the society and the government, and this is about what happens with that split, what they're having to face,
Oh my
what
gosh.
the old heroes and the new heroes have to go through, and some real ancient secrets that start to come out.
That sounds exciting. And I think a lot of our sci-fi fans would absolutely enjoy that. Um, I think that I love reading stories about the future, what could be, and you know what's amazing is, and I bet your book's going to end up selling. Remember when we used to think that certain movies back then that were about the future were like so far out, and now it's here, and now you're like,
Right,
wait a minute.
right, right. Yeah.
But you,
And that's, 1,000 years in the future. That was something as limited as our minds are. I tried to imagine how we would be that far along.
yeah.
Ships with, you see, like in Star Wars, and yeah, where they got the big ion blast coming out the back. I would
Hmm.
think that we didn't have that anymore. It'd be more
Yeah.
like Flight of the Navigator, where the ship just moves off of magnetics. And I used several different theories of uh, how the universe works, some of the newer science. Um, and it's explained simple. I don't get real heady about it.
Yeah.
Also, there was always the things, some of the newer stuff that we're doing is they're trying to do transporters. They can actually move photons.
Oh,
I
nice.
figured, well, 1,000 years in the future, what if you can rearrange them to anything you want, similar to like what a replicator does, and then you micronize it so you wear it like a piece of jewelry,
Mm.
where you can have different things. I call it a provider, and it's not huge, but it does play a part. It's not something overpowered, but these are things that people use, um, and it's a society that's had a problem with AI in the past, and so it's been outlawed, except for the infamous DT, which you can read about. Um, but yeah, it was fun figuring out how things would work, how space travel would work, um, different things that could be out there.
Well, it is entirely possible. And um, do would you base something at any point when in your writing is um, still well? Okay, for those out there who haven't read any of his books, is it basically human interaction, or is there interaction from other planets, other cultures that are out there that may be out there?
Possibly. That would probably be giving an awful lot away. But
Yeah.
here's the thing, any real good space, and this is not a, what do they say, space fantasy? Mine's not a space fantasy. It's fantasy. There's no fantasy to it. It's anything that could have a probability. Um, and the probability of there being things out there is very, very high. Uh,
Hmm.
there is on my YouTube channel, which I'm going to be pulling down soon as I put the book up on, as soon as it's ready, I put up on the Springs. Uh, it's called Children of the Directive, and that's where the T-shirt comes from. And that society, and I'll give it a little bit uh, of a heads up because you learn about it right at the very beginning of the book,
Mm,
is they are based on eliminating everything that they find out there that is not human.
mm.
They steal technology and then they eliminate them, and then they obliterate any signs that they were ever there. They are a horrible group, but it's based on them.
Wow. You know what though? I was reading that that some of these characters are based on real people, however,
Mm-hmm.
turned into fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of reminded me when you said that, though, of that plot that unfortunately that's how there are some people out there. They see something different, unique, not like them, whatever, they want to kill
Mm-hmm.
it. And I always wonder, how can we evolve if we don't learn? And yeah.
The
So,
diametric differences between, and it's one of the things I really focus on in all of my books, between different types of mentality, those who care and those who destroy. There are people that I've known being a doctor who have been basically slaves, been abused, people who have given all their time and talents to everybody else and only took what they needed, people who devote their lives to healing others. I've seen the gambit. I've known people who were involved in secret societies from our government all the way through. I can't, the doctor, you got doctor patient privileges.
mhm.
Um, but they are all in there. And when you see a story that talks about human sacrifice or this or that or the other, um, guess what? you know,
Yeah.
that was actually incidentally, that was one of the things that the with the editors, and like I said, they were woke. These two ladies who were just had no grip on reality. Where I wrote about in the Blood Witch a young man who's kind of a counterpart to the actual Blood Witch, um, and he has a tendency for um, not heroics so much as it is chivalry and
Mhm.
showing strength and devotion to people and government. And they said, no, a kid that age, he's 16, 17, all he would be thinking about is getting laid. And I said, you're wrong. Uh, the group of kids that I grew up with, many, many, many that I've worked with over the years, boy or girl, that is not the mentality of them. You are associating with really dark people if that's what you think.
Right.
But I couldn't get it past them. There's blinders on to what they were associated with instead of seeing everybody.
Mhm.
So no, I try and throw them all in there. There's actual heroics of people that I've known that have done some seriously heroic things, and I had to twist it into the story to make it fit.
That's the best thing, though, too. And I think that's what makes it fascinating. And if anybody who's read that portion of it's talking about how it can be based on real people, however, written fiction style, they're curious. And I think that's what makes a great book as well, is when you're writing about things that are are possible, that could, and those kind of things make people terrified. But it also should hopefully make them think that everything that we do now is going to catch up to us in the future. And
That's a good point.
just like our past, people may enjoy all of this wonderful technology and everything that we have, and that's great. But it all started from somewhere, and everything that we've gone through in our past is catching up to us now, to where we're almost having to go backwards. And I'm wondering, if that far in the future, in order to learn something for their further future, will they have to go to the past to learn that kind of thing? Y- you know,
There's several chapters in Revolution that go right through that. Thank you. Yes. in
try not to give a lot away.
Yeah, right. In the Blood Witch, I have characters that have um, emotional growth or change. There are
Mhm,
some people that you're going to think, well, this their personalities, I just hate them. And then when you see what they go through and how their eyes open up, or how situations behind the back, there's plans within plans, and you make a judgment on what you see as opposed to the way things really are. When you understand
mhm,
how things really are, your judgment and your personality traits can change because you realize you were wrong.
mhm.
And I do a lot of that in the Blood Witch, because all of us, we've all seen people where they're presented with difficulties, and some overcome them and others become victims
Mhm,
of them.
mhm.
You may be, and the only reason why I say a victim is someone who doesn't overcome the challenges that have been placed to them.
Right.
Anyone could have horrible things happen to him, but the victim is the one who plays dead, rolls
Mhm.
over, or doesn't fight through it.
Right. Or learn anything from it.
Right,
You're
right, right,
right.
right.
And that is definitely something that I absolutely love about certain movies and books that I go through. Those that at the very end have a phenomenal ending, but also at the same time leave something to the imagination, and you kind of wonder, like, oh my gosh, is there going to be more, or what could happen, or just something that makes you think. There's a movie. Which one is it? Oh my God, I'm trying to think of it. And it did the same thing. It had an epic ending, and then but you just sat there with your mouth open, thinking about it the entire time. And I think in your books, people are enjoying the story, but one thing I've read about the comments from people is that they're like, "Oh my gosh, you just don't give them a break to breathe." It's it's kinda they're just hooked because you can't just stop. You're going from one to the other, and I think that is awesome in a writer who can keep us on our toes and not be so predictable. Because there are some where I could be like, "I'll tell you what's gonna happen on this next page." But in yours, you can't. Real quickly, wanna say hi to Galinda, who's in our chat. Sorry, my cat's now in my way. Come on, Miyagi, get up there. Don't push any buttons. There you go. Okay, and Jeff, thank you. Hello, Jeff. And yeah, thanks for being in here. Those that are in here, and so yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I just
Oh,
wanted
no, no, no.
to.
You're fine. It's your show. I'm here for the
But
ride.
you're the guest. We're not here to talk about me.
Uh,
I
well,
wanted
I
everybody to
had
know. Yes.
one that still, there's several that stick in my mind, and they were unfortunate circumstances. One had a good ending, one did not. When I was, when you're a student, you have, you come to a point when they allow you to start working on people as a doctor, but you're
Mhm.
heavily supervised.
Mhm.
Um, there's a whole story in there where I was not so heavily supervised because of some things that I did. They kind of trusted me a lot. But I
Mhm.
had this one person that came in, and this was an outreach clinic. It wasn't at the main campus. And I
Mhm.
was there, and this lady came in, and I started, um, had to feel on her back. And you know how bubble wrap feels?
Mhm.
Her skin was that way.
Oh
It
wow.
would kind of squish underneath. She had been beaten so bad that the bruises were just,
Oh my gosh.
it was horrible. And she wouldn't talk about it. I had to get one of the lady doctors around to help, but she kept going back. She wouldn't learn her lessons. We offered help. It was fear. It was various, all the different things that have people stay in
Mhm.
abusive relationships. They feel they're tied. They feel they need to be there, or they feel they're scared to leave, or there's some circumstance that they think they can't get out. And it had a sad ending. Um, my dog wanted.
He's
Um,
crying.
she. There was another one. It's kind of a long story, but I'll shorten it as best I can. I had this. The mom brought in this girl. She was 18, and she was so flirtatious. And I turned her down on every attempt. And she finally looked at me cross-sighted and started to trust me. Found out she was a dancer, and she worked the pole.
Oh.
And so she was used to, this is how she got
Mhm.
advantage of people.
Mhm.
And it didn't work on me, so she started to trust me. Well, over a year or so, she got rid of that, cleaned herself up, because they always keep them so heavily drunk and everything just so they
Mhm.
could do stupid things.
Yeah.
And then she finally got married, and she married a guy who had a little girl, and he did not have custody. And the girl would come back, quiet, having different problems, sometimes with bruises. And over time, over a lot of different circumstances, found out the mother was just horrible. She had at one point where I was doing pictures on a kid for court, where she had bumps that were torn up on her back. You have the little marks where your spine sits. She had
Mhm.
been drugged and it torn all the
Oh,
skin along.
ow.
And this is a 6-year-old kid,
Mm.
and she was trained to lie. Mommy's great, but obviously she wasn't. It took years. There was a social worker who hated men who was thrown in jail because she was protecting this mother. A lot of different things had happened. But in the long run, the mother and father, the girl I took care of, actually adopted the girl. She was removed permanently from the actual birth mother. And it came to a good end. The girl's doing quite well. She's an artist. Um, so I've seen things go both ways.
Mm-hmm.
And the story I told, if you look in the book, you will see someone similar to that girl. You'll see someone similar to the other one I told you about. It's
Oh,
all in there.
oh, yes. Sorry, one second.
We have a guest.
Oh my gosh, he's always doing. No, no, no. You want to be on camera again? No, we're busy. We're busy. Come on. Oh my God, he's ginormous. Okay, sorry guys. You know, sorry. Such trouble being a cat lady. Hello, Time Prophet. Um, Time
Hey, bud.
Prophet, real quick, says, that, yeah, you can read audiobooks because, see, I'm not the only one who says
There's
that they love
several
your
people that say
voice.
that.
Yes, it's nice um, to get that compliment. Was like, oh my gosh, you made me lose my train of thought, little guy. Oh, I was gonna say that um, I think I can understand where some of them don't want to come out with their story, but it's also important that it be heard as well as people can relate, unfortunately, to those things. The book I'm doing is actually um, is actually the kind of the same, and in that it is based on true events, but I turned it into fiction
Mhm.
just so that I could give it my own ending and stuff like that because I didn't like the reality ending. But yeah, I'm glad that you still told people about that. The Brit saying hello.
Oh, hello.
He says hello.
I didn't hear it.
Yeah, he screamed it out loud over there. Um, so
I will be right back.
yeah, no, you go ahead. You go ahead. Um, And in the meantime, it is so nice to have everybody here. And those who, Dave's Dimension, hello, how are you? Thank you again for those that are in here with me for supporting Adega. As you all know, he is one wonderful guy. And I was just talking about you. And gosh, that was
Lying
quick.
about
I didn't get it. No, I wasn't lying about you.
me.
I was telling everybody thank you for being in here tonight, supporting Adega because I love
Thank you.
supporting authors and their books and stuff, and also because you're just, I mean, you're just an all around great guy, and everybody here is here for you, not for me. So,
Don't kid
um,
yourself. It's your show.
whatever.
I'm just filler.
um, do you have any projects that are coming up? And
I promised another book for the evolution universe, and I started it, and I'm mulling over how I want to do it because I had written down just a short story several months ago, um, and people fell in love with it. And so I decided to expand upon it. I thought I would do two books, and then I go, no, it'd be better if I combine it. So it's one book, and so I'm working on now, called The Reach. Uh,
nice.
and I may start, and I'm not going to give anyone any time frames. I said, thank you. I said probably this winter, the Doorways of Nor. It's an expansion of the evolution universe. That will probably be coming out.
Nice. How long? Do you sit with something after you've written it before you do get it out?
If it's on YouTube, it's almost immediately because it's editing. I don't like writing the whole thing and then going back and editing it. I like doing it as I go along. Um, I'll be chapters ahead, but not a great deal. Um,
That takes courage, I tell you what. That's awesome to do that, to
oh,
put it out there like that, seriously, because some people won't show their stuff for a while, but, I just feel like you have so much in your head that you have so much more to do.
mm, there's always ideas buzzing around everybody's head. It's just whether or not you choose to do anything with them. I It's a thing about me, and those of you who've heard me talk are probably going to get bored of this. Um, when I was young, I was a professional saxophone player. I was very good, made money
Mm,
at it. Even when I was 16, I was still making money. I was really good. Um,
wow.
but you can't make money at that and support a family. And I always wanted to be
Mm,
a chiropractor as well. So um, I had to sell my horns to get through school and worked really hard at
mm,
being a musician. And I was worked really hard to be a really good doctor. And then I started writing and people loved it. And I had a hard time thinking, I worked hard at the other things and I didn't work at this. Uh, and then, and this is no secret, PJ introduced me. We did this thing with Joe Malazzi for going through his Dark Matter series.
mhm.
And he started reading some of my stuff and he really, really liked it. And I thought, well, if someone like him, who has done more sci fi TV than anyone, plus a couple other people that are influential who had said really good. I've never had anyone say anything bad about it except for those editors who wanted it woke.
Of course.
Um, well, gosh, maybe I can write. So
Yeah, obviously
I
you
just accept
can.
it. Yeah, and then another big shocker was, and this is something I've mentioned to you guys before too, was when Top Fives contacted me. I got an email said, "Hey, we want you to write for us." And I was blown away because I've been following these guys for years. They got
Mm.
3.5 million subscribers,
Wow.
and now I'm writing for them. I
I
not diligently. I should do a lot more. They're very patient with me. They know my health isn't great. They know I'm distracted and doing other things. Very, very nice people, but I feel like I should do more for them. So that's another project I need to get on is start getting more of that out.
I kinda heard that through the grapevine somewhere. I am always the last to hear everything, because I am. Everybody's like, "Maria, that was, like, last month." I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, I'm a little behind in the news sometimes." Um, anyway, real quick, I just, let's see, we got, Time is asking if you had light sensitivity. Time, if you can see that we are doing steampunk. This is steampunk.
Yeah, but I wear glasses on all the live streams. I put them on.
Yes.
If the lights are bright, I always do. And my problem was when I grew up in Southern California, I was on the beach every day. Even when school was in, my parents said, as long as you keep your grades up, and I was a straight A student, you can do whatever you want. And so I wrote my mom's name on notes all the time because I could forge her name. And so I was out of school all the time and still making really good grades. I was at the beach all the time and I never wore sunglasses. And there is a disease that comes to your eyes from being too dry. Yeah, I love it when he digs at me. Cap's awesome. There's a
I know.
disease that happens to your eyes if they've been too dry and you haven't protected them. And I got it. And it looks like I have been taking drugs and there's red streaks that go right across my eyes. And there's actually little teeny tumors on there.
Oh, no.
It's called pinguecula.
Oh.
And at one point, I had gone to an eye doctor to see what we could do about it because during the night, if I don't put in drops or something, I wake up in the morning, it will tear off the outer layer of my cornea and it burns
Ouch.
for hours. Uh,
Good
so
grief.
they did, they said, "Yeah, we can do a surgery on it. Your corneas are weird, so we can't do they thought a LASIX might work. just
Mhm.
burn it off and let it re-heal. They said we can't do it that way with yours. We have to just burn it all off and let it
Oh
grow
my
back.
God.
And it's called
Ugh.
PRK. And this is a fun story. Um, I don't know if any of you know what a Sundance is, and at the time I hadn't done one. Um, but for natives, the Sundance it's a grueling experience. It's tried to make things as miserable as possible so that when you go throughout life, you can always look back on it and say, I went through this, I can do anything.
Yes.
And the doctor, we're sitting there with him and we were scheduling my eye appointment, and he said, here's your script for your medication. And I didn't want to take any medication. I said, no, I'll do it without it. And he says, no, you don't understand. And I knew that eye pain can be the most severe that a person can
Yes.
experience.
Oh.
It's more than pregnancy. It's more than passing a kidney stone if it's on the cornea straight center. The white's
Oh
not as much.
gosh.
Um, and so I said no, and he said, "All right, it's your
Ugh.
choice." And then they did the surgery. You sit there, and those of you gone through LASIK, you can smell your eyes burning and see the laser and all
Oh,
this stuff.
you did well.
And it was miserable. It was absolutely horrible. Thing is, it didn't work. It didn't get rid of the pinguecula. Most nights I can sleep without having any problems now, but
Mm,
it still gives me issues. So I
gosh.
try and protect them as much as I can.
Yeah.
However, there was a good side effect. Most
Oh,
people have 20/20 vision. Mine's
mhm.
20/10. I could see twice as far as the average
Really?
person.
Oh
Oh
my
yeah.
gosh.
Up close, I
That's
got nothing, but far away, it's wonderful.
well, that's you can always see what's coming, and that's probably why you write the future so well. That was cheesy, Maria. Go ahead and say it. Yeah, people talking about their experience with their eyes. Now my eyes are watering because, like, um, and because like, oh no, 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 um, sunburn in Britain. Well,
Right.
you guys got sun there. I know that. I heard about it. Gap. Hey, Gap. Thanks for being here.
Well,
Um,
tell Brian Jacob Smith I said hello back. Hello back. And you haven't razzed me in a few weeks, so good. Thank you. I
is
learned my lesson.
isn't Gap the most at the best at getting on you?
It was fun.
Yes.
I deserved it.
Oh,
I've done that
um,
too. Once
oh,
upon a time when I was in school, or I was just graduated high school, and
oh,
I worked with my family business. They were all either tractor mechanics or operators, heavy bulldozers. So I was mechanicking, and I thought, I don't need to wear eyewear, just like I didn't at the beach. And I got a piece of
mhm.
steel that had to be removed.
Oh, I have a cow and I have a cat hair in there. I'm like, get it out, get
Well,
it
the
out.
fortunate thing for me was it didn't go into the cornea part, it went into the sclera, the white part, which doesn't hurt, except it was barbed, and every time I blink, it would cut the eyelid.
Oh,
But, it was simple. They just pulled it out. It wasn't that big of a deal. What he's talking about was probably much worse.
oh no, that's nasty. Let's see. I'm catching up with all these chats. Plenty of sun. Oh, you guys got clouds too, huh? Yeah, here in Colorado. But oh, what was I gonna say for those who and Miss Tracy, if you're still there for me, since we have some newcomers here, if you can kindly add the link to I think Latino Slant asked too where he could purchase something now, and I think you might have put
Book
the link
one,
up
book
if you
two, and the
could.
Blood Witch. And the
Hmm.
Blood Witch is the big one that the publishers wanted. They hadn't seen my other stuff, but they were destined to be published. They liked it so much they said everything you do, we're going to publish. Um,
That's awesome.
yeah,
That must be rough
flattering.
because it is because like I belong to a lot of the writing community in on Twitter, and sad for them, I have offered for them to come here and promote their book. But you know what? Dig, I asked you once, you came. Thank you for that. Some of these authors, I'm like, do you realize that I could, get your book out there and just and they anyway, whatever. Um, but I see them.
Writers are weird.
I I you're not weird. You're you're a genius. Um, but one thing I do notice when I'm seeing all these tweets from them they're always like trying to help each other out. How do we do this? How do we do that? And oh my gosh, I've sent out a gazillion copies of my stuff and I've not heard anything, or I've gotten one thing and they're like, yeah, sorry, no can do, whatever. So, and it's taken them a while to get anywhere. So for you to have that kind of attention, especially from Joe as well, who absolutely loves what you do, because Joe is another genius.
Absolute. And he's a
Um,
community builder, a really nice
yes,
guy, and
he
yeah,
is. I
he
love
knows
him
how
to
to do
pieces
things.
too. I'm in love with his dog, and I think he's worried about that. No, just kidding. Um, but he is. He's a genius with a huge heart, and you remind me of him as well. The both of you, just brains constantly going, but that heart still beats along right with it. It doesn't get cut off in that connection. I like that. So, MEC, thank you, Tracy, for popping that in there again for me. So
Thank you.
there's Adega's Twitter, where you can keep up with his works. And then there's his website where you can get his books.
Funny thing
For
about that
Yeah.
Twitter, the reason why there's a dash, I was one of the very first people to get on it, and they wouldn't allow the name to be that small. So I had to put the
Really?
little dash at the end. Yeah.
They're like, what do you need now? I don't know how long I've had Twitter. I think I started a while ago. Yes, yes, Suji.
Suji.
Yes, love the
Very
Suji.
tolerant dog considering
Oh,
all the costumes it gets put into.
I know the costumes and everything and all the facial expressions and all that. The dog has a blog. Okay, people,
Hmm.
go check out the dog's blog.
Do you know the dog's history?
You know what I've been wanting to ask,
They
but
got it. They found it from. It was. I don't quite think it was a puppy mill, but it was very, very neglected, and it couldn't walk. Its whole backside was
oh,
paralyzed, and every once in a while you'll see a picture with it in
the
a
wheel
walker thing.
chair.
But
Yeah.
he mentioned that they had done therapy with it every day, water therapy, everything to
Oh
get it
my
up and walking.
gosh.
And finally, Suji recovered. From all that abuse, it got up
Really?
and yeah, starts
The
doing
poor
well.
thing. No
Gets
wonder.
spoiled now.
Yeah, oh.
It definitely is very happy compared
If
to what it
Joe
had.
was my daddy, I'd be spoiled too. Okay. Um, yeah. Gap is saying, I dig I want a part in the Blood Witch TV series.
There's a lot of parts if it ever came to that. Um, but there's also protections. There isn't anybody in TV or anywhere that's going to mess with my story. It stays the
Yeah,
way it is.
yeah. That's the way it should be. Yeah, Cardinal, it's Sunday for those of you
I'm
that
going
are
to
in here.
try. I told him I was going to try.
Yeah, I may be able to pop in for a bit as well. And for 500, yay. Mhm.
He's been
I'm
on
like,
that border for a while. I'm glad you got it, buddy.
he's finally gotten over that hump, but I think it's well deserved.
He
And
works.
mine is like right on that 249. That's where it is. 249. I'm like, hmm, just one more, put me
YouTube isn't very nice when it
back.
comes to keeping subscribers. It plays with your numbers.
It does. I've seen that happen. It goes away. And oh, where am I? I'm doing this without my glasses, and it's never a good idea. Yes. And
Some of the
yes.
Suji stuff, yeah.
Yes, those are fun. And um oops, hang on a second, I went backwards. Yeah, yeah. The cats and dogs. I always subscribe to their blogs. I don't know why. It's crazy, but I do. Um,
I it's like a publisher. I thank you, but did we freeze?
no, I don't
Okay,
think
you
so.
look like you were dead still, and I'm going, oh, we freeze. Um, I you know what, Cardinal Sin, that is awesome. However, I wouldn't. Um, I'd be very hesitant to have anyone mess with it. That's why I'm not really fantastically excited about going to most publishers because I don't want them to mess with the story. I went with
Mm-hmm.
the one because um, Marine, who no nonsense was president, and her husband, and they were your story, your way. We'll just clean it up and we'll make money together. And that was awesome. I'm happy to do that. I had the whole crew published, everything is all lined up and circumstances went to pot, but great people still. And I don't have a problem working with great people, just so long as there isn't some exec that says, well, we're going to gender this one or we're going to race this one. And no, no, you're not.
Hmm.
My story.
Yeah, that's true. Everybody likes to get their hands in it. And you think it's for your best interest, right? But it's because they want a little something, something from it. I'm sorry, I'm just being honest because they want to be able to put their name and say, hey, we
Yep.
had a part in this.
Yep. Yep.
And not when you have dreamed it up, put it out, got it out there on your own. I absolutely totally agree with you on that. And you're right. It's hard to say that and not try and sound like I'm Mr. Pretentious. It's not that at all. I would feel the same way about anything else. My cooking, I make green chili perfecto. Even my mother asked me for the recipe. But if somebody were to try and dabble with it, I'd be like, "Oh, no," because it took me a long time to get it this way.
There you
So,
go.
no,
There you go.
thank you.
Well, it's not just that. For me, I think probably the biggest thing is this is a legacy of the people I've known. You change what a person is in the books, you have erased the memory of the person that I have.
Yeah, that's true too. Um, and Macklin, thank you for showing. And there's still people shuffling in here, which is awesome. I'm trying to keep track of the time. I guess it would help if I put my glasses on because
My wife said it's okay, so I'm here as long as you need,
she's like, "You keep
or as long
busy."
as you can tolerate it.
No, I'm good. It's just that I didn't want to keep, I don't like to keep my guests too long in case they have other things to do. And then let me see. Who
My
else is
wife said I
saying?
could play.
She's like, "You go ahead." That's nice of her. Um, Good to have that support, and I adore her for encouraging you to do so because we wouldn't have what we're talking about today. Maybe you would have done that, but when you have a good partner to encourage, that always helps on that. And how much support do you get on what you do alone? Like, does anybody influence that, or is it all Adega?
It's almost all me. Music wise, like I said, Alan from co.ag helps some of the inspiration. There was two things in the books. One of them I took advice from, the other one I didn't. Both of those are from my wife. She wanted to change the reaction of one of the characters, and it would have went really, really dark. And I said, I
Mm,
can't do that. That's not this person. Um, the other one, and that was in the Blood Witch, and then there's one in Revolution. Actually, I think it's yeah, towards the end of that one where there's some circumstances that set up, and I needed a specific challenge. I had some ideas. I ran it, crossed her, and she says, I kind of like this idea. It was her idea. I said, yeah, we'll go with that. So that's, other than that, it's been pretty much me. But that was
yeah.
she played a big role with that. It was really good.
Well, and that kind of would make sense since you probably bounce things off of her anyway, and you guys probably, when you've been married so long, start thinking like your other half, and
Kind
so it's
of.
probably
It's good that we don't think too much alike because
right.
we complement each other, even though
That's
we
always
tend to be
nice.
opposites in several ways. Other ways, it's we complement each other. And yeah, it was sad. The owners of Mad Raptor, they're awesome people. could,
Mm,
they were just great, and it was unfortunate.
mm.
Oh,
Okay.
that's just a closet door.
Just a I don't know, man, because when I was little, there's some really scary things that came out of a closet door. Aw, yeah, it's so great. So yeah, very exciting. 1 second. What else was I gonna share on here? Because I wanted to get everything in here. We got that, and then the other book, Evolution,
Yeah, you showed
and
that. You showed that
that one I
video.
showed. Oh yeah, I showed the video on that one. I didn't tell too much about that. Oh, the t-shirt's moving all by itself. That's crazy. Okay. So anyway, we've got that. Make sure again you guys keep a watch in the next couple of days for the other download on that. And let me see who else came in here in the meantime. Brightest day. Hey, brightest.
Hey, brightest.
Good to see you.
You got a
Um,
lot of good people in the chat.
yeah,
Imagine
I
that.
do.
Water
There,
seeks its own level. They're attracted to it. You're a
you
good
know,
person,
I'm telling you, it's because you're here.
Lonnie.
um, I'm just holding the microphone. No, they're great people. I love their support. But like some of them, I don't know. I learned a lot about you through PJ because PJ's like a dig of this and a dig
He talks up
that.
everybody.
No,
He's a good man.
he's a good man, but it made me fascinated. So I was introduced to you through him, and I wouldn't have known about that. And so I wanted others that hadn't had the chance, who aren't connected to PJ, um, to know you and your work and what you do, because I absolutely love it, and so does everybody else. So make sure you go check it out, guys. It's really I think it's good for you to get this now, and hopefully we can get a hard copy.
Well, it's as soon as I actually put some effort into finding another publisher, but I really haven't. Um, and that, it's like with my YouTube channel, everyone's asking for subs and this, and you know, it
Well,
hasn't been that drive for me for, I don't know, I just don't have that. I love to write. I love it when people enjoy it.
right.
I got tired of waiting for, um, something to happen with a publisher, but I still didn't have the drive to go out and find any. So it's,
Well,
this is
the
the
thing
easy
is,
rat out.
I think it's not so much easy, but that you're having fun with it and you're doing
Yeah.
what you love and enjoy. And I got to tell you, that is how things explode after a while, because I know that you're doing this for the love of what you love to do, and not because, hey, look at me, I'm a digger. Because that just happens. People are just drawn to your personality and who you are. And it's just it just happens on its own. So I don't even think you have to do all of that. I wanted to do it because if I go to a good restaurant, I want to tell people about it. I want to, drink something nice. I want to tell people about it. I see something good, like your books. I want to tell people about it. So I want to make sure that everybody got a chance to know Dega who doesn't know Dega. Of course, looking at everybody in this room, I think they all know you more than I do. So yeah,
Well, there's a few people that have been around and seen me here and there.
yeah, it'll be a good time, Cardinal, even if people are popping in and out, which usually happens in celebration streams. I didn't
Yeah.
let that happen in mine because I was barely learning how to use stuff, and I'm like, I ain't doing that because I'll screw it up. Um,
Now, see, there's been people that say, "Oh, you hit 50, you need a celebration. You hit 100, you need a celebration. You're at 300." And it's, you know what? It's all right. I'm not
yeah,
worried about it. I like feedback, but Uh,
Yeah.
if you're there, you're
Well,
there. If you're not, you're not.
I
I
think, yeah.
it comes. I guess it has to do with being a doctor because at first when I started practice, I would have people come in and you anyone who's a doctor because they want to help people has a certain mindset. There's a lot of people who
Mhm.
become doctors because they want money, and they usually
Mhm.
end up they're the ones you don't like to see.
Right.
So the first, I think it was the first 2 years when I was working with people, I would always get sick, upset because I'd give them recommendations knowing how this is going to help their life,
Mhm.
and they wouldn't do it. And when I learned to accept that people make choices on their own, do
Mhm.
things that they want to do, will have the outcomes that they want, whether or not it's for their best interest. I just have to accept it.
Mhm.
And so it's carried on to, like with channel numbers or whether or not people buy my books, I just accept it. People do what they want to do. If they want an opportunity to see into my brain and go into the different universes I've created, here you go.
Yeah.
Uh, and the people that have been there absolutely love it, and it's
Mhm.
up to you.
Well, yeah, absolutely. At the same time, though, I've almost missed out on a few things because those, whoever offered didn't push it, but I learned about it from somebody else. And that's kind of where I'm going with this is, um, I'm not the hugest channel in the world, but I've got some great people in here, and I don't know who's all connected to who and stuff. And I wanted to make sure that they all had an opportunity to know what you're doing with this, because there's a lot of sci-fi fans out there, and I know that they would absolutely love this. And one of my favorite reads is sci-fi. So did I just what? I'm sorry. I thought I heard a dog bark, but I don't have a dog.
Wasn't me. My dog got kicked out, and she's
Did I?
downstairs doing something
Yeah.
else.
I was like, my cat just learned how to bark. Um,
That would be
what?
impressive.
Yeah, that would be scary. I'd probably freak out. Um, yeah, that's funny.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh my gosh. Um, yeah, that's true. It's all about having fun, and that's what I'm doing. Um,
Well, I'm
oh
an
my gosh.
old school California, not the new one, an old school California. And you probably know there was a reputation that we had years ago of being just really laid back.
Yes,
And
I remember that.
you could think of how polite and nice the Canadians are. I'm more laid back than they are.
Yeah, you're right. I remember those days.
Think you do.
Thing. What's it called?
Yeah, hang loose.
Yes, the hang loose thing. I don't think I've seen that for a while. And now all the Californians started moving down to Colorado, and I can tell that their little attitudes have changed now because their driving is horrible.
Hmm.
Their driving is really aggressive. And there's little old me, do 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 do, following the traffic laws and everything. People were honking at me because I was going the speed limit. How horrible is that? That's pretty bad when
Right,
you got people
right.
honking as you're going the speed limit. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Let me see. I'm trailing off here. Okay, I'm gonna have to give up and just do my classes. Oh yeah, and Gap. PJ always thinks I'm calling him a good boy. Every time I'm talking to my cat, PJ's like, did you just call me a good boy?" So that's why he said that. Yes, good boy. Um, oh, yeah. Thank you so much for stopping in, and those who had
Thank
to
you.
come and go. It's really nice. We are almost at an hour and a half. Oh my gosh, it does go by fast. Um, anyway, I'm sure that there's a lot more to talk about, and hopefully next time I can have PJ with us, because we need to do something steampunky. Because now I have to have an excuse to wear my steampunk stuff.
I'll wear another one. I got all kinds of steampunk stuff.
So yes, so yeah, I'm sure that everybody here will see you on another stream somewhere, and then we'll just check out your Twitter to get updates. And any projects you have coming out. We will watch for. Anybody else have one quick question before we let Adega get back to his lovely wife?
And I'm much more approachable than you thought. PJ was telling me you were quite nervous. But I've heard
Oh,
that from other people too. They think like this guy's gonna kill me. I'm
I don't.
terrified of him.
It, I don't know if it was that so much as okay. If I really told you the truth as to why, you'd probably roll your eyes. And I'll tell you in the back room because I don't want to reveal why I was so okay. Tracy, thank you for helping me in this stream.
You're an angel, Tracy. Thank you.
And she's going to be helping me in the stream tomorrow. For those of you listening, I have got this crazy, wonderful guest, Bobby Gamonster. He has his own. He's kind of like he is kind of a Svengoolie, but not really. Yeah, he woke me up one night when I was watching, fall asleep with TV, and I was like, "Who is that?" And it was really interesting. I said, "I gotta have him on." So the mistress is going to be here tomorrow with him. So Tracy's going to be helping me in that, and yes, don't mess with the Canadians. Very nice. Thank you so much for being here, for saying hi to Adega, for supporting Adega, and for all of you. Thank you, Daryl, for being here. Everybody saying hello and whatnot and whatnot. Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm not doing a Halloween stream because, hey, I want to have fun on Halloween.
Right.
Yeah, well, So I love my steampunk hat and my steampunk necklace. And anyway,
And
thank you
cufflinks.
so much, Adega. You have been such a wonderful
Oh,
guest.
thank you.
And I'm
Said
going
a
to
lot of
thank
nice things. Of
PJ.
course,
Yes.
it's difficult to sit here and be flattered for an hour and a half.
You're like, Maria, let me know when we get to something I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Oh, you were a blast, and everybody in the chat, thank you so much. Appreciate that. I'm going to sign out with our lovely, what's it called? And the guy who made my thingy has this really awesome video tomorrow for the stream that he gave me. So you might
Oh,
want to
cool.
catch that. It's pretty awesome. So anyway, thank you all for being here. Mistress, Steampunky Mistress says thank you, and thank you, Adega. Oh, I don't know where I'm going.
3, 2, 1.
Yes, go.
Welcome to Sherwood.
That's very interesting. Nobody ever kissed me the way you do.
Nobody. Take hands now and come on, fight.
I want to help you.
Open the pod bay doors, please, Hal.
I love you, Scarlet.
What's that? I can tell where your eyes are looking. Don't let us